Hello YouTubers, this is Gold Standard 924 coming at you with another video. I normally don't do WWE Raw reviews, but since Raw, as a matter of fact, didn't take place just tonight, because of the blizzard that happened northeast here in the States, apparently some of the live events got canceled. So what they did to kind of compensate with the viewers was to show a replay of two of the marquee matches from the Royal Rumble pay-per-view last night. And I figured it'd be a good opportunity to kind of give out my thoughts on these matches and um, just a lot of emotions that were going in, in the pay per view and the backlash that just happened last night. So I figured I'd give my thoughts on that. But first up, I want to get to the triple threat for the World Heavyweight title. So Brock Lesnar defending the belt against John Cena and Roman Reigns, or Seth Rollins, excuse me. Um, yeah, so basically, very enjoyable match. A lot of people said it was good, so I was kind of curious just to see how the match flows. And turns out that it was actually very enjoyable. I really liked the performance of these three competitors. Brock Lesnar playing off as this dominant beast that he claims himself to be. Doing all these variations of suplexes, German suplexes, vertical suplexes. Basically capitalizing on that moment that he had at SummerSlam when he fought Cena and uh, overly, just using the suplex to his advantage. Um, so that was pretty cool stuff. And John Cena and Seth Rollins, excuse me, once again. Basically trying to manhandle Brock Lesnar, try to take them down. Um, and then basically you have like a lot, just basically a typical finisher fest. John Cena doing like three attitude adjustments on Brock Lesnar, but even despite that, Seth Rollins was there to kind of stop the pinfall. Um, yeah, so that was, and then you also had a lot of stuff that was going on. There was a moment where Brock Lesnar ended up getting speared by Cena through the barricade, and they kind of played up a part where they put so much, they just nailed him with so many finishers to the point where Brock Lesnar was kind of suffering from a bit of a concussion. So they kind of played it apart in that. So he was kind of out for a few minutes while John Cena and Seth Rollins were kind of going at it. Um, yeah, so there was times where it looked like Cena was going to win, but most of the time, either Seth Rollins kicked out or Brock Lesnar was somehow there to stop it. Um, so there was a lot of suspense going on as to who was going to walk out as the winner, which was even with the build up to the match, you just never knew who was going to win, which made it even more exciting, in terms of some of the momentum going into the world title match. Seth Rollins went for a Phoenix Splash. He nearly botched it, but luckily it connected, but just a little barely. Um, and then eventually Brock Lesnar was there to come back, made a Superman comeback. And people say he's John Cena's Superman, but apparently Brock Lesnar is the other Superman, apparently. So Lesnar took the advantage, gave Seth Rollins an F5, and retained the World Heavyweight title there. So a very enjoyable match. Like I said, the crowd was really feeling it. It's Philadelphia, one of the biggest cities, home of what ECW used to reside in, and I believe it's the current home to Ring of Honor. So, so definitely a very vocal crowd, kind of what you expect for a pay per view like that. Um, so pretty good match. And then we get to the 30-man Rumble. And boy, was it interesting. And even to put it in a nice way, that is. Um, Now, I'm not going to necessarily, bitch and moan like a lot of wrestling fans on the internet do. But with the Rumble match, it started off, it was actually pretty decent at first. Crowd was really digging with it. And, you know, there were some wrestlers got some pretty good cheers, like Damien Mizdow. Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, um, obviously, Daniel Bryan, and we'll get to that, a little bit. Some of the returning wrestlers, like Bubba Ray Dudley, who hadn't been seen in so many years, with the Dudley Boys. They didn't bring in Devon though, which was kind of disappointing. Um, Diamond Dallas Page actually got a really big pop. Um, I think the only downside to the Royal Rumble match is not just because the wrestler that a lot of the general fandom wanted to cheer or wanted to have win, like Daniel Bryan being that particular wrestler that a lot of fans wanted to see him win. But more than that, there was actually a lot of quick eliminations, which I was actually pretty shocked. Miz and R-Truth started off the match, and they were pretty much eliminated by within a couple minutes, like 5 minutes to estimate it at that. Um, so that was kind of a shock. Zack Ryder came in, ended up getting eliminated by Bray Wyatt. Despite a couple offense that he had, and he actually had a pretty big pop though, a pretty solid one. And Zack Ryder was pretty much gone after a little bit. Um, what else? Yeah, just a lot of quick eliminations. I think that also kind of hurt it. Um, Roman Reigns, he came out, got booed. I think a lot of people saw it coming. Basically, going out there and kicking ass and um, doing what he does best, despite the crowd reaction that night. Um, Damn, and then obviously, I mean, I don't have nothing against Roman Reigns. I actually want this guy to succeed. Just a year ago, people just cheered the hell out of him. They actually wanted to see him win when they knew that Bryan wasn't going to be involved in the 2014 Rumble. But I think that kind of foreshadowed a sign of things to come for him. And then they broke up the Shield, and Roman Reigns was trying to kind of get in the groove of being a single star and trying to you know um, just try to establish himself as this force to be reckoned with. And then apparently Roman Reigns had to go down due to a hernia injury, I believe. Um, and then apparently while all that was going on, you had some of these other talents, especially fan favorites like Dean Ambrose, breaking out from the Shield and establishing himself as the lunatic fringe as he is. Um, and then you have Seth Rollins, who also broke away from the Shield, also establishing himself as his own guy too. And people bought into these characters. Dolph Ziggler even got a pretty big moment when he was the only sole survivor to beat Team Authority at Survivor Series. Mostly thanks to Sting, but Ziggler ended up getting the pinfall regardless. Um, yeah, and then they completely undid that when they brought back the Authority, thanks with Cena. Having the force to bring back the Authority despite the fact of what happened in November. Um, Man, I'm kind of rambling on, so I apologize for that. But Roman Reigns, I think he just needs a little more time. I can understand some of the fans' frustrations, but I'm not going to necessarily bitch and moan about it. Um, but I just don't know. I mean, I want this. I don't want to repeat myself what I'm going to say necessarily, but Um, I think they need to do something to kind of make us convinced that Reigns can be that guy that people can get behind on. I mean, he doesn't have to be, what John Cena's currently is, and he doesn't have to be like what Sheamus was a few years ago when they were trying to push him as this be all end all guy, and now they made them like just giving him all these storytelling jokes about Jack and the Beanstalk and Sylvester the cat from Looney Tunes, and it just comes off very awkward and forced and actually out of character for him. So I just really hope that going forward that they actually improve his character in a way. But it wouldn't surprise me if the fans continue to boo him like the way they did with Batista. But maybe Roman's going to kind of ignore the crowd like Cena does, but even with Cena, I mean, he embraces the crowd and actually got proper build up, and having more time to establish his character, get fans over, won a mid card title. Roman Reigns didn't really do that anything like that. I mean, he won the tag team titles, but most of it involved with two members of the Shield, and Reigns, even with the Shield, they just kind of hit his weakness. People liked him because it didn't expose his flaws very heavily, and now that the Shield's broken up, it's kind of an uphill battle for Roman Reigns, and I mean, I wish him the best of luck and stuff, but I don't know. I mean, the crowd. It wouldn't surprise me if the crowd booed him like they did with Batista last year, but um, I don't know. They might just stick with the original plan going forward. Unfortunately, I mean, there's might not be no Occupy Raws and stuff like that, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just hope Roman Reigns, I don't know. He should definitely improve a bit on some of his mic work and his character and try to give reasons for that. But it's going to be difficult, I will say, and not just speaking like kayfabe wise, but in my own personal thoughts, basically. As for Daniel Bryan, I want to get to him for that. So yeah, apparently got a really big pop in Philly, and apparently got eliminated after a couple minutes. So yeah, so maybe they could have just kept him off, maybe TV. Maybe I don't know if they had to like overhype his return necessarily, just so that people could get people to buy the pay per view. Um, but I mean, if they had held him off, maybe they could have had. Maybe it wouldn't be too much of an issue if they had just not have him come back until maybe a little after the Rumble. Because the moment that Bryan was coming back, they just got the fans just got their hopes up, and I don't know if WWE did. Um, it's very questionable on WWE's part to think, to kind of consider whether or not, um, that the way they kind of hyped up Bryan's return was, uh, it's I've kind of lost words basically. So it's they brought him back on SmackDown and not giving time to kind of maybe wait until the pay per view to come in, or um, I don't know. But I mean, I'm not the biggest Bryan fan, but I mean, I do enjoy some of his stuff. I'm not like the biggest fan like a lot of people are, but I mean, it's very, it's not because the typical yes chant that became this uh pop culture phenomenon in recent years, but it's just more like um the character, some of the flaws that he goes through that we can relate to him. That even when the going gets tough, he keeps fighting and fighting until he finally achieves his glory or finally achieves his goal. And Bryan had to fight for that, and I think that's why people got so invested in that character, and you know people wanted him to succeed, basically. Um, yeah, so I can understand fans of frustrations, um, but maybe they'll play up a storyline for it, maybe saying that he wasn't 100% and um, that maybe it might have been a mistake for him to come back a little too soon, or something like that. They'll probably like embrace that incident in a way. So eventually his time might come, but for now, who knows where he's gonna go from here. So definitely interesting, for better or for worse. Yeah, that's really all my thoughts on the Royal Rumble, or the Raw Royal Rumble. Just giving away some of the marquee matches for free. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Yeah, so until next time, Gold Standards User 924 signing out.